Happy Monday, everybody. This is your favorite crypto trading show, Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your host, Clutch. We got B. Wellington over here, and we got a major support line that we want to talk about for the ETH coin and where that's going to be and, what to expect when we get there. So, B. Wellington's already on the chart, so take us away, big guy.
So here we go. We're on the hourly. Let's hop over to the daily as well, because this is always good knowledge to have. Look at my messy freaking chart. Doesn't look great on the daily because you can see everything, but this, you can see it from a larger time frame, kind of where we're at. So we talked about major support. And what I want to highlight on this is essentially when you have, this was that big low that we had that we kind of talked about for a long time, was a area that we thought we were going to come back to, and we haven't yet, right? We're not out of the woods yet. Everybody thought we were out of the woods when we got up to $2,000 ETH. They thought we'd never see this. We wouldn't see a bottom. I'm still under the impression, or under the idea, that we're going to come back and meet this area here. I don't even know. I drew this line in here. Let me take this out. And so here we are back at that major support. And the reason why I think it's major support is, one, we've got a lot of these vectors, and this is on the daily, that brought us out of this area, right? That really pushed us out of this area, that pushed us to this 2000. And here we are, we come back to it, we tapped it. So we did somewhat of a double tap. And it held for a little bit, and now we're going to retest this double tap. And so with all of, I think we can all agree, or we can all not agree, that a lot of the market is short right now. There's a lot of short bias in the market. And so, this is an area that I think a lot of people believe that we're going to get back to as well, because we have these vector candles, a lot of volume that came in. And so to recover these candles is something that's likely to happen. Will it happen this time? I don't know, because we are at this support. And if this does hold, I do expect us to, if you look at the patterns, we never really finished this pattern that was up here. We've got a lot of short volume that's coming in this area. This was the result of a big, short squeeze. So potentially we could have another short squeeze all the way up to the 200. That would make a whole lot of sense to test back up to this area on the daily, and then potentially come back down and range into this area. So I'm looking at this support area to hold. We haven't gotten back down to this kind of this 1230s area. I anticipate, that we will. If you look at it, we've got, even on the daily, we've got POC up here. We've got some low volume nodes. Not hugely low, but we got some low volume nodes here. So if we do see start to see a real big turnaround, I would expect us to start coming back up. I like, 1600s. You've got POC that's up there as well. Maybe come back down, do a little something to trap more traders, and then move back up into these areas, get people a lot more bullish again, and then bring price back down. We've got a Fed meeting coming up, I believe in October, right? So next month, I believe, October or November. I have to recheck.
We'll check that when we get to the news.
Well, it's not. So the news that I'm looking at doesn't extend out that far, but I'll check it at some point. But so this is what I'm anticipating, us to come back down in this area and then move them back up. This would be a pretty common move to come back down, trap here, and then move back up. If we look at it on the hourly, it might give us a little bit clearer perspective. I do mark off a lot of these vector candles in areas in which I think it's going to turn, and so that's why you see so many lines on my charts, just so I can make them real clear. Or the other part of it is when you get some of these in this area, this would be considered kind of a POC for this particular pattern, if you want to call it that, accumulation. And so we're starting to move through this area. It's kind of the median line. There's a vector candle here. There's a vector candle here. This is that support I was talking about. I am anticipating us to get into that area. We do have this wick that's here. I anticipate, it came a little bit below that wick, so call it 1216. So, this is kind of the area that I'm looking at. as far as us returning to
Do
potentially
do you think
snap back
that
up.
1200 is in the is possibly in the books for this play?
I mean, it's gonna chop down in this area, right? So it's gonna be who's trapped into this area. I mean, 1200 is still. You're talking about 30. You're talking about $30.
Yeah, because let's talk about this for a minute. So if everyone and their mother thinks that is with the support at 1230 and everyone's short, I
I
mean,
didn't say that everybody and their mother
no,
was,
listen though.
but this is an area of support. Yeah.
Right, yeah, look, but we can say that a lot of people are short, and then they're probably going to want to say that, hey, we're going to go down. So it would actually be, in my mind, to trap those breakout traders and actually do a nice little wick down there to get them trapped before we have that nice move to the upside like you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say that I like this line because it's kind of it adds some confluence to some of these other areas that we're in, right? So, and we've only got some of that wick that's down there. So I would say 1230 is kind of the medium, but it could wick down to 1200. I mean, if you're talking about the break, the break is at 1218, right? So if it comes down at 1200, I mean, if it moves down to the area and starts coming back, I think anything in that area is going to be a pretty good risk reward, because if we're talking about moving back up out of this area, I mean, potentially we're talking about last week's high, which is at 1500, 1580. We've been talking about getting up there for a minute, hasn't. I like the range from this 1228 area up to this 1441. I know in our group chat we've been talking about that a little bit as well.
Oh
If I'm
yeah,
looking
hey
at,
man, and hey guys, just so you guys have heard it, we helped a couple of people in our group chat that we sent signals to double their account in just 1 week. How awesome is that?
it's very awesome. So, yeah, no, I mean, it was a good week. The last couple weeks have actually been really good. So, other things I would say confluent to the upside before a downside move. I mean, we've got on balance volume that, I mean, if you look at it here, it's down to kind of these levels in which we've seen it pump from. And so, on balance volume is something that we like to use as well. Moving through on the what you would call the RSIs and all that good stuff. So we've got an RSI here, stochastic RSI here, some momentum waves. We got the VWAP here. This is all pointing for it could be a downside move before it moves back up. As far as these momentum waves are concerned. So we're kind of there. So really, what I would say, at least for my opinion on this, is that we wait for a move to happen. Like in generally, whatever that first move's going to be in either direction, we're probably going to fade that move, especially if we're coming in and moving down here hard. We start moving up into this area. I still anticipate at some point we get back into this area and really start maybe even chopping around this area, getting a lot of people excited about it before it moves to the upside. And admittedly so, I could be wrong. We could break out of this, come all the way back down to these areas, and then test our other support, which is around this. I mean, if you're looking at, you got two levels of support really. We've got kind of this dip down here, like we've got this dip down here. This second level of support is kind of that what is it, 953 or something of that nature, and then you've got kind of this 864 area down here, which is the kind of the peak of this last little movement down to the downside, which is now has marked the low. So if you just look at it from an hourly, I mean, we've kind of moved up into this area. You would anticipate us move back down into this area at some point, but because the momentum to the downside is so strong, I think another move to the upside is in hand. It's just a matter of how they're going to do it. So if we look at things like OI, we'll just look at this chart real quick first. Just overall OI, if we're looking at perpetuals, $5 billion. So we really haven't gone anywhere OI wise. We haven't really broken down below that 5 billion. We haven't really moved up either. And going back to this, of course, this is Binance looking at the hourly. So again, this shows the fact that we've just had OI dropping off. This is still an on balance volume here. which indicates that, again, we probably have some reason to go back up. This is also build OI. This is a kind of a new um, indicator for OI, which is an open interest delta, right? Which just kind of shows you the delta from the OI perspective and kind of giving you an idea of what's going on relative to the price action here. And then we have our average or directional uh, uh, indicator here, which really hasn't really said anything. You want to look at these indicators when they kind of get to some of their extremes. So we're somewhat at the bottom of this. We're up, up top relative to the extremes. This is kind of a secondary indicator that I like to look at. And then, of course, we have our Bollinger Bands, which are tight, which would indicate that something's about to happen here. We've got, let's see, traditional market, Dow futures, we're down further. It was down 200 about an hour ago. Now we're up to 86, so starting to move up for the close. So we may have a little bit of a bounce going into the to the close. And looking at oil's down. We've got the 10-year Treasury, but definitely futures look like they're not as negative as they were, but they are still negative. So let's be careful, with that. If we look at the economic data for this week, this is for last week. Let me scroll up. So we've got a lot of Fed presidents talking this week. I mean, look at this: Susan Collins, Raphael Bostic. He's kind of a one that has been out there for a while. Loretta Mester from Cleveland. I mean, just Farrell Powell speaks tomorrow on digital finance. So, we'll get some ideas of what they believe on the crypto side. And then we've got some durable good orders, home prices, consumer confidence. A lot of good news coming out next week. Initial job claims, continuing jobs claims coming up on Thursday. So that may create some activity. PC price index, core PC and PC. Friday, we should probably get some volatility around there because core PC is something that is paid attention to as well. So not a huge week for news. I would say Friday's probably going to be, Thursday and Friday are always going to be your better days relative to volatility just because of what's coming on. But, if, Tuesday, this isn't a Jackson Hole speech, but if Jerome Powell or some of these guys say something stupid, then yeah, or smart, the market could, react to that as well. So,
and that's
all.
And that news is happening tomorrow morning too, as well, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, this news is happening tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So guys, be up and ready because we might see some pretty nice price movement. So let's see what's up here, and let me know when you guys can see the chart. All right, cool. So as you can see, this has been the last couple of days where we've had a really lot of negative on the cumulative liquidation delta level. And as you can see, we're getting close to being balanced with total longs and short, and we're pretty much flat right here. So that tells me that we could go either direction with price. However, we do have some really nice short liquidations right up here, and this one's been open for a minute, 1442. So that's definitely that's kind of right up in that range that you were talking about, 1430, 1440, just a few minutes ago to that upside. So definitely, if we do break out and start heading up today, that's definitely a area that I would be looking at getting up to and riding along and TPing up to that point. If we want to take a look over here at book map, I seem to always get these two confused. Here we go. All right, so as you can see right here, we are slightly above the BWAP. We have just we've had some positive and bullish volume come in. We do have the big bubble with the short absorption, so that is a possible indication for a reversal to the downside. However, we still have a lot of really strong momentum that's inching up here to the 1340. B. Wellington also mentioned that the Bollinger Bands are getting really tight, so we are expecting a move here shortly, one direction or another. And right now, it does look like it's to the upside, and we are right up here, right where we're at. This 1325, 1340 area, that's a really crowded area. So that's, we always say don't trade in crowded areas. So I would be, if you're going to look for a long, maybe put a conditional up here, right up here. So if we get that breakout around 1350, 1360, because it's going to go pretty quick if we do get the breakout. And play that move. However, if we're going to get rejected for today, we're probably going to get rejected up here in this range by 1340. So we just need to really pay attention to what's happening right now. If we break,
Yeah, if we
this,
break, yeah. So sorry to interrupt, but look, I was just looking at the chart. That 1350s area, that's where the 200 is on the hourly. So that's going to be a lot of resistance in that area as well. So if we start getting some good volume coming through there, that's going to be the breakout. If otherwise, it's coming up to that, to that 200, it may not, it may not get through it, even though we've got a lot of imbalance up in that, in where that 1441 area. So you're right. If we start getting some volume into the area and start breaking out, I expect it to go. But we do have some natural resistance there with the 200 EMA.
So I'm bullish if we have that breakout. So this is definitely one of these days that if then what. But this also could be a choppy day as well as they wait for Powell's news that he wants to give out tomorrow. So we'll see. You guys stay frosty, and as always, until next time, AMF.
Adios, my friends.